this time, we'll call the October 13th meeting of the West Memphis Utility Commission to order. The first item on the agenda is approve the minutes of the September 9th meeting.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
Have a motion by Mr. Holmes.
Second.
Second by Mr. Felton. Okay, I can't see my any additions or deletions? All in favor? All opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item is the September safety report.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Okay. We've been 48 days since our last report. I want to bring to attention that October 2019, we set a mark for ourselves at 742 days without lifetime injury. We're currently sitting at 722. So we're about 8 days off, 2 years, real proud of that. We had no injuries for September. We're 2 year to date. Our incident rate, 3.69, and then you add in the additional hours up to today, we're down to 3.5. September 20th. Monthly safety topic was 10 rules to preserve 10 fingers. Some statistics here. Hand injuries send more than 1 million workers to the emergency room each year, and 110,000 lost time hand injuries annually. 70% of those not wearing gloves. So these rules, be aware of pinch points, avoid placing hands and fingers in the hazard, expected hand tools that are going to give back resistance, might give way, tool slip, or object moving. Inspect tools, make sure they're in good condition and safe to use. Do not work on moving equipment that can be stopped, do so. Replacing machine guards, big one. Be mindful of equipment that starts automatically. Lock out, tag out. That should be one of the main things you're thinking about when anything that starts up. De-energize equipment before working on it. Be mindful of closing doors. You'd be surprised at how many times we get this, not necessarily here with our employees, but it happens. Close the door. Avoid touching lines or equipment that may be hot, or even cold for that matter. And if the work requires gloves, use them. So just, again, some simple rules to go by. That's all I have for this, but I've got something I want to talk just a little bit about. Y'all should have received a safety manual in your packets. It's a copy of the West Memphis Utilities Employee Safety Manual. And we wanted to get this to you so you could look at it, get some feedback from you. And at some point, here for the first year, we're going to be looking to adopt it as the utility safety manual. We need a safety manual. And I think that this document right here can serve as a good guide to, just some important information. It sets some basic requirements to maintain a safe work environment. Not only does it do that, but it refers to the federal and state regulations, the APPA, American Public Power Association Safety Manual, and then any other West Memphis utility specific policies and programs regarding safety. And so this is the basic thing that kind of starts layering with all the other programs, because we've got a diverse amount of work going on with various departments. And we've got programs lined out in the back for each department, what they should be following, as well as this. This is the core. It does a couple things that we've kind of had in place, but it's not all under one document. And that would be our job briefings. When we start any work, it's going to require everybody to do a job briefing, have that discussion, communicate what's going on with the work and who's doing what. And that way everybody's on the same page. And then our near miss reporting, that's sporadic. Sometimes people volunteer. This is kind of addressing it and saying, this is what we want you to do. And that way we can be proactive in trying to stop injuries and accidents. And one of the best things that it does is it's establishing a safety review committee that is going to be the employees and myself. And it's going to allow the employees to look at some of the investigations that are done out of any accident or injury that we've got and be able to reference finding out what the root cause is of why the accident happened. So I think it will help enable the safety culture to progress even more with having the employees involved and looking at those things and saying, it's a rule, it's a simple rule. This is what we should have done. This is what we need to do in the future to make it better so we can all stay safe.
Who will select the committee?
Right now, I'm thinking that we should have it as a volunteer thing. I mean, I don't know that we want somebody to be forced to be on it, or kind of want somebody that's got that mindset they work safe, they want to work safe, and be a volunteer.
And have some representation from each department.
Right. I'm working on drafting that right now, of how that's going to actually lay out. But I won't be presiding over it. It will be the employees presiding. So like I said, they'll be controlling it, and they'll have expectations of, let's look at this, and let's come up with answers. So it gets them more involved. So, like I said, I just wanted to get it to you and get you a little explanation of what we're trying to do. We got a good employee handbook. That will be the safety manual. And like I said, they kind of go hand in hand with employee handbook lays a foundation with safety. Now we need to get some rules out.
I know at one time we had some problems with cell phone usage, and so you have that. And it's like if you got a CDL, you can't use a cell phone at all. At all?
You can't be driving and using a cell phone at all. Just like what it says in there, you can't be texting and doing those things by state law anyway. So this will also open up sitting down by departments, may even split it up into smaller sections of the departments, and keep an ongoing one-on-one training, and hopefully get some of the safety committee members involved with it so they can be leaders and start passing along this information too. To get everybody working under the rules and knowing what the rules are, and that way they're watching one another's back.
We call this singing from the same hymnal.
Yes, sir.
We need to.
Yes, sir.
You all together there.
This document has been vetted by the other managers and was reviewed, and comments were given back to Brett, but I can tell you 100% of this document was developed and written by that guy right there, by him from, again, he didn't reinvent the wheel, we'll say it that way. He had the assistance of other organizations, but again, I think we have a lot of these rules and people know about these rules, but I think putting it in, getting it in writing and them understanding it sets expectations.
We're going to make sure that our lawyer.
That's exactly right. That's why we just developed it,
Right.
and this is just for review. This is, and I think it would be good also HR to receive a copy of this. It is not part of the employee handbook, it is a separate document,
Right.
but I think it's good that, we start, because again, in a lot of it, as you see, he was referring that we are adopting the APPA safety manual. So you know, that is a national organization that is reviewing their rules yearly, and we're saying, hey, we're adopting these, and so, and, you know, adopting a lot of the, and it's, what is it, the Arkansas?
AOSH.
AOSH, thank you.
AOSH controls public for state art, so OSHA would be on private stuff. So, but it's the same thing, basically, same thing.
I've got a question, if you could refresh my memory, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Incident rate is 3.5. That's 3.5 incidents per 1,000 hours,
100 people.
per 100 people.
Yeah, see, that's where we
Five
get,
bodies, not
that's why ours is so high, because it's based, that number, and even APPA has said this, that sometimes that number is not, it's not reflecting well on a small company, because you've got to start at that 100 employees, and if you don't have 100 employees, you're already behind already. You have one incident. But yeah, that's 3.5.
Well, the city should measure yourself against.
Right, it is something to measure against, yes, and I think it's just like APPA has said, they're trying to develop a system. I do submit numbers that I have to break down the whole utilities for just the electric side, and that means like half of the office, half of meter reading, because they're not just reading electric, they're reading water. So I have to break everybody down and submit an incident rate and a number to APPA for the electrical safety side of it. And I tell you, when you start breaking it down and you get like 40 people, all you got, the number goes up. But we're trying to just benchmark with them and see where we're sitting. And like I said, we're actually not doing bad. We're just not getting recognized yet. We got to be in the program like 3 years to get recognized.
And again, and I think Janice can speak on this a little bit. Reducing injuries also affects our bottom line, because it reduces, and I think Tori can, our workman's cost associated with. So this year we've had 2 incidents. They were very minor. You know, yes, I would want every employee to go home at the end of the day. That's the main goal, as with all 10 fingers. You know, that's our main goal. But it also helps us in the financial
Do
side.
you know what the, out of curiosity, do you know what your multiplier is for work comp?
I do not. And remember, we get blended in with the whole city.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
not always. Believe it or not, I think our incident rate is probably lower than some other departments. And maybe it's because of the work that our guys are doing. You know, they're much more focused on than, and I said guys and gals that are doing. So yeah, it's a focus. It's a focus every day. We know that.
Good job.
Any other questions? Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, next item is the personnel update.
All right, I'm gonna just quickly go through this. We had one resignation from the meter department that could have been voluntary or involuntary, basically just left the job. So, again, I guess found other employment. We reached out, never heard from them, so do not know exactly what the reasoning was. That's all we have so far for, we did not have any new hires during the month of September. Any questions about that? That's all I got with that.
Okay, I just, one thing, we just did extensive travel around. Almost every business from here to the west coast and back has hired, now hired, looking for people. We're not the only place that have a hard time finding people to fill our slots. Okay, next item is presentation of the AMPA salary survey.
All right, AMPA is Appa, and, you know, I committed to y'all as an organization whenever we redid our salary structure that every 3 years I would do a salary survey. I was lucky enough to be on the board of AMPA, which is all the Arkansas Municipal Power Associations, and they agreed that as an organization, let's do it together, okay? So the HR representatives from each city actually were the main lead people for the organizations, and I'm gonna turn it over to Miss Janice. She was our representative, so I'm gonna let her go over what the results are. It's, again, this is for your information to review, and what I also want to, right before the meeting, I passed out, okay, a document that was 3 pages. Those 3 pages, okay, has our salaries on them, okay? Since you have one that is a blended group of the AMPA organization, I wanted y'all to have ours specifically. So on the first page is the salary personnel, and then the other pages are the hourly personnel. And then I extrapolated that out, and you see their hourly pay, and then you see their annual pay, and all I did was multiply it by 2080. Okay, I didn't take into account 2082. I know some people do 2082 because of the 1 year you have a leap year, but I did it by 2082. And I just want to point out though, anywhere you have a single line item, that position, the only way you move up, those are typically stair-stepped increases based on, hey, I have to get a certification to move up to the next level, okay, on ours. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Janice and let her kind of give you a general overview of the study.
Okay, also you should have in your packets the actual salary survey. It should, the first couple of pages should have a description. It should look like this, if you have that. But I do want to just explain that the HR departments work with a very reputable organization called the Johansson Group. We've worked with them before, the city has actually, and I've worked with them for, really ever since I've been here with the Arkansas Municipal League salary surveys. And so I worked with them before while they collected data from all of the municipalities within the state of Arkansas. And so for the utilities organizations, we had a total of 11 participants that included their data to the Johansson Group. So they work with public organizations, they work with also private organizations as well too. We've been working on this for the last several months to collect the data, and they were able to present these findings. And right now what we're going to do is we're currently working on like the benefits portion of it as well too. But this is something for you to review and to keep both of these items. This item that Mr. Peterson discussed, which is our current salary surveys, our current salaries, as well as this is the data that we collected from the state of Arkansas. And then whenever we come back in November, if I'm not mistaken, if you have any questions or anything, Mr. Peterson is going to be presenting his recommendations as far as the numbers that we have based. So the first couple of pages are going to include a description of all of the most common positions that are within the utility organization. We also have like the number of years of experience that may be required, education, and then again, if there are any certifications that's required for that particular position, and even if it's exempt or non-exempt as well too. We also, if you look past just the general descriptions of the most common jobs, you should see kind of an overall, page of, which organizations participated. Now, they're broken down as far as like the top 5 organizations. Of course, North Little Rock, they're, number 1, and then the bottom 6 is actually which West Memphis Utilities is included in. Now, that's based upon revenue. It's also based on like the number of customers, and then like the number of staff members as well too. So they kind of have it broken down as well in that area. Now, if you look at the last, let's make sure, where you start to see the numbers, it should look like this. Where you actually see the numbers. The first, it's going to be broken down in separate categories. So it's going to have the overall average, that's including all of the 11 utility organizations. And then it's also going to be broken down by the top 5, which will include the cities of, the utility organizations of North Little Rock, Jonesboro, Bentonville, Paragould, and Conway Corporation. And then the last category will be the lower 6 based on revenue. And that will be the utility organizations of Benton, City of West Memphis, Siloam Springs, Hope, Clarksville, and Pickett. So I'm sure you all have seen some of these surveys before, but you're going to see in the first category the average annual. Going to have a minimum, a mid, and a max. And this is based on the overall average of the data that was collected. As far as how do you get the minimum is after speaking with a representative at the Johansson group, they kind of broke it down to me like the minimum number would be the minimum average of the data that they collected for that particular category, and it would be the same for the mid and the same for the max as well too. So it's a lot of information, but I think it's a good step in the right direction to make sure that we're competitive and that our salaries are comparable to what the market is based upon. So with that being said, do you all have any questions for me before you all take this back and review it on your own?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not sure who it's directed for.
Okay.
If you look on the page, it shows the top 5 and the lower 6. Okay. In the lower 6, West Memphis annual electric revenue is $27 million.
Yes.
The Benton Utilities is essentially the same.
Mhm.
They have more customers.
Mhm.
They have a quarter of the workforce.
Okay,
Where's that?
okay, if this was a discrepancy, that is our total workforce. Benton only reported their electric employees, okay? I
I
know,
noticed up on the top, it says 200 employees total.
Yeah.
Under
Right.
Jonesboro, electric, water, and wastewater all combined. So I was
right, I
just
know,
saying-
they're, people,
I thought so.
Yeah.
we talked about that at
Yeah.
our main meeting, that some people had actually accidentally, instead of just electric employees, like North Little Rock Electric is an electric department, so that is their number of electric employees.
That's it.
Ours is our total number of employees, which is water, wastewater, electric.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah. Again, I think the main thing in what I've seen most salary surveys in the utility industry is based on your revenue of electric revenue. And the one that stuck out to me, and I immediately when I saw this, just as a comment, was Parables. Because we're about the same. I mean, when you think of population, you think about everything, we were about the same. And I was like, holy cow, why is that? But he kind of explained it. He says they are actually a winter peaking utility. And it's because none of their residents or homes have natural gas in them and haven't had natural gas in them for 30 years. So their revenue in the winter is, as you know, it costs a lot more to heat with electricity than it does natural gas, so their revenue is increased based on that. That's the one thing, and that's just because of my knowledge of, it's like, oh, something right there. You know, the other cities you know about, those four are very large cities. You know, North Little Rock, Jonesboro, Bentonville, and Conway, so. And also, the HR group, one of the tasks they've taken back and they're working on is putting together a benefit analysis, comparing benefits from these organizations along with. So hopefully before the end of the year or the first part of next year, we'll be able to bring that also, because I think that plays in part to your compensation packages. What benefits also are you providing to your employees?
Anyone else have any questions for me?
Did we get anything from ULC budget?
No, they weren't included in this.
Well, I know they weren't included, but we had access to their salaries and stuff.
I can see if I can get that information.
Yeah, we might be able to, I know a few people that work over there.
Yeah.
We can maybe reach out.
That's our
They are a,
That's our closest competitor.
yeah, they're
Of course,
I
they're
agree.
huge.
They're union. They're a union shop. This will be different. And we could look at it, and I think they are, since they are a public entity, I think we could request it.
Todd, I got a question for Todd. When was the water and sewage department consolidated?
I'll say, what year are we getting?
What do you want?
Yeah, I know. And I'm trying to go back to when I became assistant general manager, and I'm trying to put everything in time frame. Probably 2013, 2014.
It's been years.
It's probably about 10 years.
10 years.
Yes, sir.
Is that when Josh left?
No, I think it was before Josh? No, it was actually, I think what ended up happening is, I think we had a gentleman retire years and years and years ago, it was Mr. Poe. I think it happened shortly after that.
Were those employees of that department, water department, were they given an additional raise since those departments consolidated in one department?
Yes, they were.
What was that raise?
I can't answer that exactly off the top of my head. I can't tell you that. I'd have to go back. But yes, they were giving a raise. Plus, they were giving them, and I can tell you that before they were separate. When they were separate, they did not have the ability to move up. In other words, I moved into this job. I got 4 increases, and there was nowhere else for me to go. They now have the ability to move up by earning certifications. But at that time, they were given just a raise because they were, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers at that time and see if we're going to pull minutes.
So their starting pay is something like $14.50 an hour in the water department? When they start?
What they start at now? Yes, they do.
So
That's the current starting pay.
So this top out pay is based on the level, as far as what the level they get, as far as level 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, yes, it's based on earning certifications through the state and being able to perform certain skills. It's both. It's both.
So you have training.
It's education and training, or capabilities of on-the-job performance.
Do they receive the training here, or do they have to go to another place?
The educational training, they are required by the state to go somewhere else.
Where's their location?
It's multiple places. There's actually 2 organizations that the state recognizes to perform training. One of them is Arkansas Rural Water Association. They perform training. That's in Lone Oak. The other one is Arkansas Environmental Academy. Did I say that right, Brett? Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay, they're out of Camden, but they have multiple sites. Like they will have a training in Jonesboro, they'll have it in, they just go all over the state because it's Camden in where the Arkansas Rural Water, they go other places, but for the most part, especially since COVID started, all their training has been in Lone Oak, Arkansas, which is where they're located.
So the utility department pay for their training, right?
Yes, it does. Pays for their travel, pays for their training, pays for the test taking, pays for, and we actually also have started to buy, there's another group that you can study material called California State, that we also buy all those books and we'll put them in the correspondence courses where they can go and review that material and take those online tests.
So they would just have to let you know or somebody else know if they want to take this particular training, right?
That's correct. Now, some of those people have went to training 5 times, and it's the same material. And after so many times, we need to, what is it, the old saying? Doing the same thing multiple times?
Expecting
Different
different
results.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say, if there's anything else, just review these surveys, just bring them back, you know, so that, whenever Todd presents his recommendations, if you have any additional questions, you can respond to them at that point.
Thank you very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is approval to adjust November meeting date to November 10th at 8:30.
All that is next month, the second Thursday of the month is November 11th, which is Veterans Day. It's a holiday for the city, and I'm asking that y'all just move it up one day and have it on Wednesday.
So moved.
Motion by Jerry Burns, second Ms. Marshall. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else, it's up to you. Okay, next is update of the broadband feasibility study and grant.
All right. A couple months ago, y'all gave me approval to move forward with starting the feasibility study for doing broadband in West Memphis. We had told you at that time that we had Ward Wimbish and Dwayne Rose worked together and applied for a grant from the state. What I want to bring to y'all's attention today is we were approved for that grant. So we've went ahead and we've initiated the organization to start, they were in the middle of phase 1. We also then gave them approval to go ahead and start phase 2 of the feasibility study. Part of the next steps is doing a phone interview, okay, that is the questions that I presented to y'all in y'all's packets. They will actually call the customers on our behalf, okay, and ask them these questions. Okay, I understand that some people will not want to, will not even answer their phone, but we're hoping that they get good feedback through the phone interview. We are also going to place an online questionnaire that people will be able to click on a link and submit the survey. If they, and I just want to get this out from the public, if you receive this call, we ask that you do participate even if you still did it online, because just want to hear some feedback. Sometimes while talking, you give a little bit more feedback than you do when you're just online. So, the questions are in front of y'all. If do y'all have any concerns with these questions, what I would like is for y'all to approve that these are satisfactory, and since they are acting on our behalf.
Have they estimated how much time it takes for this survey over the phone? Because a lot of people not going.
I know.
Yeah,
They don't
that's
get, you tell them.
And I was very skeptical myself, and I explained that. He said, you'd be surprised. He said, we just recently did this in 2 other cities in Arkansas. They actually just did it in DeSoto County. And he says, you're right. Some people are like, yep, bye, boom. And he said, there's some people, we are on that phone for a long time. And I think it depends on, some people want to, they say, we'll sit there and listen to their life experience if they want to. So he said, those who want to talk, we listen to. So,
Listen long enough to talk about internet and everything, they will answer the question. It is pitiful now, it's getting worse. Number one, I think there's a mistake on the front of this. Broadband feasibility study, we have asked the people of West Memphis.
yeah, that was ours. That's not, that was just a cover page.
Then, question 10, go to 16. If you look at that, that needs to be go to 15. You go to 16, it's reasons for your support.
Okay.
15 explains what's going on.
You don't
I'll
know
look
if
at
they're
that.
supporting or not.
Yeah, I'll look at that. You know, I'll make them aware of that.
What number will they be calling from? Will it show a city?
They said it will show a local number. Somehow it'll show a local number. I know, but we didn't
Are
tell
we
them.
gonna allow them to leave a message so they can call and do this? Because, I mean, I can tell you right now, if I don't know the number, I don't
I'm
want to
sure.
answer my
Well,
phone.
in
I
my
agree.
line, we don't ever answer.
But if you leave me a message, I'll call you back. If
I will stress that to them when I talk to them about if they get a voicemail, leave a message with a callback number.
Call back number.
And we just want to also let the citizens know they do not need to make sure that you don't get caught up in anything else where you're providing them personal information.
Right.
These people will not be asking for personal information. Social Security number will not be asking you to go buy any gift cards. Do not get caught up in something. Okay.
So,
No, that's why. go ahead.
okay, what date do you plan to start? Did you say that?
I do not know the answer to that one at this moment. I think that we were waiting on the approval from y'all. Once we get that approval, what we can do is we can put something on social media and I can actually get
So
it.
that's my next question. Are we going to campaign in a way so that the community is educated that this survey is going to occur?
Yes, we
So
will.
that we can have some expectation of it?
Yes, we will be doing that on social media along with the link to also do the online survey.
Sort of a block of time so they can expect it because.
Between this time and this time. That's a great, I totally agree with that.
Right.
Is he gonna put an insert in the bill for this? or
No, because it's very
how do you put it out?
It's gonna be social media, through our city social media page, through Nick,
So we'll see if we should share it.
yes,
So that's support.
yes.
I think you ought to look at inserting
Yeah.
a color.
It's just the amount,
How much of the cost?
exactly.
Now,
Every piece of
after
paper.
that, then you're sending it back, then nobody wants to touch it because who says touched it, and then.
And they're only
I don't
called,
mean send this out, I'm just sending a
Oh, yeah, hey,
notification.
go fill out
That
the
this is
survey.
going to be
yeah,
a
you
survey,
do
you
that.
can find it online, or you will receive a phone call.
They need to know why they're doing this survey.
Right.
Right.
I mean, you gotta explain that to them. But just saying, we understand that, we want to understand more about how residents use broadband today. But we need to explain that, because people not gonna,
They don't know that we're looking at.
No.
Investigating.
right.
It is amazing since we've been back. We get about 10 to 15 calls a day that are robocalls.
I just don't answer
We
them.
don't
If
get
somebody's name doesn't come up,
Well, even then, you don't know.
So are y'all saying y'all want an insert or something? Okay, if we're gonna wait on an insert, then, or if we're gonna do an insert, that means that these surveys will not occur until November, because the end of November. What I'm saying is it pushes us back a month and a half, because I'm starting billing now. So I've already missed some of my billing people for the month of October. So they won't even go in until November, and we're billing till the very end of November. So you're saying we're not even starting that till December. We were talking about having this done by the end of November, the feasibility. Because again, we're trying to put ourselves in place because there is more money out there for actually infrastructure build out.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that, but if we don't get enough response, then we can do that
Right.
in November.
I really believe if we put it out on our social media, the City of West Memphis page, and then people go and share it and put it out there, and, you know, John goes and puts it out there.
You have 14,000 people on city social media right now.
Is that, okay, there you go.
So,
And that's probably more people that'll read the insert. That's our bill, most of them, I think.
okay, well, you know that stuff.
Well, I can tell you, I can remember, I can go back and to when we put inserts multiple months in, hey, we're going to online billing. It will be free. If you go to a site that costs you something, that's not our site. And we still had multiple people going, hold it, they charge you something, that ain't our site. And we put that in, I think, 3 months in a row, trying to explain that in the bill that we wanted it, in what, the website itself.
You also have the city cable TV.
Right, which, he's right there.
Yeah.
Community organizations.
Yes. Yeah. But I will, that one, number 10, the reference. Okay.
Number 10, I think I.
And again, these questions here are not what's going to be online. These are the questions that they would be asking over the phone. Okay? So they might know, but I'll still point that out to them. And again, the main thing
I'm
is,
very interested in that survey.
Yeah, my only suggestion is keep it to 10. Find out how to get your information and some questions.
yeah, I agree. I know. Make it short.
I'll get tired of this survey halfway through it.
Just, the other thing, again, we did get approval for the grant. The grant was for $72,500, so this is costing the city nothing. So that's a good deal. And that's Ward Wimbish and Dwayne Rose, they are the ones that work on that through the state. So, if I could get a motion to approve with the changes that's in.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Martin, second from Ms. Brown. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is number 7, update of corrective action plan for sewer system.
All right. One of the things that, you know, has been in the news and been being discussed a lot here lately is the sewer system and its inadequacies and the things we need to do. As y'all know, we had some issues in the past. We just recently had final closure of our bond issuance. And I passed out at the beginning of the meeting what Ms. Susan pointed out last time. It is actually the debt service schedule. It shows the dates along with the interest. Okay, where you can see on June 1st, 2022, it's very small, that we have a payment of $552,000. Okay. That's June 1st of next year. So this is the new debt service schedule. That, it actually finally closed, it became final October 11th, and actually Tori just ran out. We just submitted our first reimbursement from our previous expenditures. So we're getting reimbursed $3.6 million of monies that we had previously spent for these projects, okay? And before they start, and I'm gonna pass out their presentation, and I'm gonna turn it over to Fisher and Arnold. I wanted to give y'all an update, because we've been working on this for a while, and I want to let y'all know where we're at, because it's not small money, and keep y'all updated. I've also, at the beginning of the meeting, passed out the operation and maintenance portion of the budget. It's not the capital expenditure portion. I still need to have some discussion, because I'm not sure if I include the stuff that's going to be paid for directly out of the bond. Okay, that's something. But what you have in front of you is a preliminary budget, and that does not include any adjustments on salaries, okay? That is strictly just step increases that the employees would get based on just normal things. So you have a pre-budget, operation and maintenance budget, okay, in front of you. And then next month, I will give you my recommendation, and then you'll be able to see what the changes, okay, with salary adjustments will cause to the budget, okay? Now I'm going to turn it over to Fisher and Arnold, and they're going to go over what's been going on with all the work and stuff. And I'm going to pass out their presentation.
Good morning.
Mark.
Y'all might remember me, I'm Tim Berger, and typically when I get up here, you're spending money on the sewer system. And unfortunately, that's not changed. To my left is Jeff Old. Most of you have not been introduced to Mr. Old in the past. Jeff is my project manager who is in charge of the development of many of the plans that are associated with the work that you're doing to bring your sewer system in compliance with the consent order that you entered into with ADQ. Todd and his staff have been very busy over the last few years working on bringing various components of your sewer system into compliance. And what I want to do is allow Jeff to start going through a little presentation. We'll talk. We'll tell you why we're here collectively, not just for this meeting and the sandwiches, but tell you what we've done up to this point, and then tell you next steps, what's coming up, because this is a multi-year process. We think that we've just gotten over the hump with the biggest, heaviest lift from a design standpoint, and then kind of let you know what to expect. So, Jeff, take it away.
Certainly. So as you all know, as a result of ongoing SSOs and wastewater treatment plant bypasses, let me explain what those are very briefly. An SSO, sanitary sewer overflow, there's inadequacy in the collection system, whether it's a pipe, a manhole, or a pump station, something like that that's not doing its part correctly. Sewage comes out of the collection system. That's an SSO. A bypass is simply, hey, our treatment plant can't keep up. We're having to move water around the treatment process just so it's not drowning us. So a bypass is sewage that gets around the treatment plant.
And what ADQ is really focuses on, anytime they bring a community into a compliance issue, an enforcement issue, or if you have recurrent sanitary sewer overflows at the same locations. So that's, the great thing is that, we report these to ADQ as required. The bad thing is they're at the same point, but, that gets us into an issue of having to identify why it's doing it, which is what's been going on for the last several years.
And trust me, you guys are not alone. Every one of our clients, all of our clients are municipalities for the most part, and they're all experiencing these types of issues, so you're not alone.
That picture is East Jefferson and Woods. That was our major sinkhole over there. It's fixed. You don't want to drive by it.
It took a while, but it did get fixed, so. West Memphis Utility agreed to a consent administration order in late 2019, and the timeline that they established to fix these issues was the end of 2023. So there's two major components here to what we're doing. The first is addressing the collection system, and then the second is the wastewater treatment plant. But the first here, assess and rehabilitate collection system to eliminate SSOs. We've had to spend quite a bit of money to quantify the problems that you've got in the sanitary sewer system. Engineers like numbers, we work with numbers, and we can't fix something unless we know exactly what the problems are. So we've had to spend quite a bit of money in investigations, and those turn into real dollars when we go out into the field and fix some of the problems that we're seeing in the numbers.
Excuse me, Jeff.
Yeah.
We retained, or West Memphis Utilities retained RJN, who is a sewer system, they do sewer system assessment studies and flow monitoring. And West Memphis Utilities brought them on board probably back in 2013 or 14 to begin looking at what the recurrent issues were in various basins within the city. So this has been you go in and you hire the experts to look at the system, identify the defects, and give recommendations on which one of those defects are most cost effective to repair. And it's not as if you just threw something up against the board and said, let's start going and fixing things. There are those things that are not cost effective to fix in the collection system. There are those things that are the low-hanging fruit that are very cost effective, which AJ and working for Todd has been very good at getting some work done on rehabbing of manholes, these port repairs that have been plagued the city for so long over the last few years, and now getting into some pump station rehab. So I probably just stole most of what Jeff asked.
I have nothing else to say. So at the treatment plant, we underwent two different studies. First was a hydraulic study to figure out, is there a bottleneck? I mean, if this were clear water, how much water can we absolutely cram through this plant? How much are we capable of pushing through if treatment weren't a question? And then the second study was, of course, the treatment and expansion study, where we determined, okay, what else needs to be done here? Where can we add more air to the treatment process? Are we getting the right disinfection at the end of the treatment process?
Yeah, so going back to that hydraulic study, we identified what we felt was appropriate, and that was, over the years, the treatment plant has been expanded and modified several times from its original design. That was as a result of growth that West Memphis was experiencing both on the residential, commercial, and industrial side. And the real bottleneck that was found was, besides the influent channel getting the flow into the aeration basins, but you might recall that your clarifiers were set down in the ground a fair amount, which resulted in some backups. They were quickly overloaded when you're trying to push anything more than what that plant was designed to treat on an average daily basis. Now, ADEQ loves average daily flows, but where you really get hammered is that 2-year, 24-hour storm that you're going to get all the time. And that ADEQ wanted the city to develop a model to tell us what's happening. And that clearly showed that hydraulically, we've got a bottleneck, and that the way to get out of that and to eliminate those plant bypasses, easy for me to say, to eliminate the plant bypasses was to expand find a way to expand your wastewater plant from your permitted 6.3 up to a 12 million gallon a day average daily flow, with the ability to pass 18 million gallons a day during a storm event. That's that deep.
So that was the culmination of the studies was, hey, our target is 12 million gallons a day, and as Tim mentioned, 18 million gallons a day can be passed through the plant once we get done with the expansion.
And that's really important, because that's the whole crux of the matter. Right now, Hall is struggling with getting more than 6.3 to 7 million gallons a day through that plant without impacting treatability. What we've tried to do with this design, and I think that through the efforts of Paul and his staff, we have a scheme that we put in place that we're reusing your existing aeration basins, which is a huge cost savings from a ultimate CIP standpoint. We do have to build 3 new clarifiers and a new disinfection system, as well as modify the influent channel. But we're trying to reuse everything that we can in an effort to save dollars on the construction side.
And so that design is a very complex design, as you can imagine. It involves electrical engineers, structural engineers, Tim and I, our entire department, controls, geotechnical investigations. It's a very complex. Anyway, last week we finally sent our plans off to the Arkansas Department of Health so they can begin their review. Estimated construction cost. I should have let Tim say this number, but
That review,
Yeah, so when we sat down, Scott and I sat down with ADQ 18 months ago, for every 6 months, we get to go up and have like a teeth cleaning with them. Now, luckily through COVID, we've had that via Zoom. It's been real easy, but I suspect we're back in in-person meetings for the December meeting. They warned us. They went ahead and were very upfront that once we submit expansion design plans, plan for a review time of not less than 6 months, which seemed pretty odd to us, but we've talked with other communities. They have experienced the same thing, is they take 6 months to review the plans. I am here to tell you they will have comments that we will have to address. We expect those. It's not going to shock us or surprise us, but we're not looking to advertise this job. We'll get approval to advertise this job until probably late spring of next year. And it will be an 18-month construction effort. And right now, that's a huge number. That's $30 million. And it is $30 million largely in part because we are able to reuse some of your processes. It's a scary thing, but we think we have a good design that it's going to be a ballet there at the wastewater treatment plant. There'll be ample opportunity for field trips, so get ready. It'll get real fun.
so we hope to bid summer 2022. Again, keeping in mind the end date of December 31st, 2023. It'll take 18 months to construct. Projects that we've completed to now, 2019 and 2022, we had 2 years worth of manhole rehab. programs. As Tim mentioned earlier, hey, we got to prioritize our dollars. You get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of keeping water, stormwater out of the system. You get the biggest bang for your buck in rehabbing manholes.
You know, you've done probably 500 to 600 manholes under that program. This is a job that has been administered and looked after solely by, you know, your existing staff. So luckily you're not paying us to stand there and watch some of this rehab because y'all do have very capable staff that can do that themselves.
AJ knows more about sewer manholes than he ever fucking that picture that Todd pointed out earlier of the big puddle around the manhole and the ground that's sunken down, that was one of the 3-point repairs that we repaired beginning in 2019. That was a tough project. The 3 repairs sort of drug on a little bit because sort of like an onion, you kept peeling layers and they kept finding more problems. But had the right contractor and the project was successful. Bar screen replacement at the wastewater treatment plant. Rehabilitation of pump station 1. So as a result of some of the flows we're seeing getting to our pump stations, said this one, for the system to run a little bit better, we've got to upgrade this pump station, put some new equipment in there, make this thing bulletproof for 50 years.
Just for y'all's reference where that is, that's actually the pump station at Woods and Polk, right there next to the Delta Gymnastics building, y'all.
Same thing with pump station number 15, identified a proper flow rate for that station, upgraded the piping and the pumps. And 15 is where?
AJ?
AJ, you guys did.
This is off of Ingram.
That's the one on Ingram, right there. Okay.
Yep. And that was a design that you guys handled in-house here.
Yeah, actually AJ and Ward handled that design completely.
South Wood Street sewer main CIPP. That CIPP is secured in place pipe. We drag a liner through the pipe, inflate it, and cure it to the inside of the pipe. It's like lining it. It's a trenchless method, makes things easier. Digging it up would be really difficult. And in this case, it would have been. Pump station 3 upgrades, another increase the throughput of the pump station. And then the rehabilitation of pump stations 8 and 9. 8 and 9 are the 2 big stations that both send sewage to the wastewater treatment plant. Both were in need of some new equipment. This is the aging pumps. So we upgraded the piping, upgraded the pumps, and also upgraded the structural system inside the pump house so that you could, in maintenance, easily lift the pumps out and get them on the truck. So made these stations bulletproof for quite a while.
You know, one of the things on pump station 9 that was done, in addition to putting in a pump lifting system that helps out on a future O&M standpoint, but that station was originally designed with 2 pumps that would handle the duty flow with a provision for a 3rd pump at some point in the future. Well, they haven't installed that 3rd pump now because that station is with
critical.
One of these projects that has yet to be bid, going to be critical to taking flow off of pump station 8 and giving 8 a little bit of breathing room, which helps with upstream SSOs, and you know, kind of sharing the load.
So, upcoming projects, now that we've addressed 500 to 600 manholes, now we're turning our attention to some of the pipes that need to be rehabilitated. So there will be a CIPP program in place here soon. Pump stations 3 and 4 rehabilitation and common force main. So these are 2 pump stations that, several pump stations in West Memphis sort of pump the same water a couple of different times. It's not very efficient. And when one pump station breaks down, it sends that problem upstream. So you've got, you'll have a lot of problems if one pump station breaks down. We are taking 3 and 4 and putting them on a common force main we're taking them basically out of the daisy chain here, and we're increasing flow. So we're taking all the flow that's getting to 3 and 4. Those are some of your worst basins in terms of rainwater getting into the system. But we're taking both of those out of the progress of all these different pump stations. We're putting them on some force main, and we're pumping it directly to a manhole upstream pump station at a time.
So what that does, two things. It reapportions the flow that is currently going to pump station 8 and overloading 8, putting it on 9, because 9 was identified by RJN as being underutilized. You know, it had a whole lot more capabilities than what it was being asked for. So by doing that, we're helping pump station 8. We're also helping the residents in there that have their household waste going into these pump stations 3 and 4. We're reducing those recurrent center sewer overflows. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. This is the project that we originally had on to be bid in October, but due to the resin shortage and the cost of pipe, the estimated cost of this project had almost doubled. So we have put that particular project on until hopefully be bidding first quarter. But the design on that is done, everything's ready. It was actually, like I said, we had it out and we're looking at bidding it out, because I think this is going to be a game changer for a lot of residents in our city. When we take that load off of 8 and we take 3 and 4 and move them straight to station 9. And then that takes loads off of station 6 and station 7. That's how many times that basin 3, which is the Walmart, the pump station there, yeah, it's on Shopping Way, it's over there near Walmart. It pumps 5 times before it gets to my wastewater treatment plant. So, I wish we'd be done.
You know, unfortunately, COVID has done a lot of things kind of out the window with cost of materials, piping, equipment. It is a very crazy time to be bidding work right now. The contractors will tell you, manufacturers will tell you they don't know what their raw materials will be to get good firm pricing. So this was a very good project to put off until first quarter. Hopefully things will stabilize and we'll get these issues that are pandemic driven resolved.
And pump station 4 is just to the south of number 3 on Layer Street. The wastewater treatment plant construction, again, I hope is bid next summer for a 2023, December 2023 completion.
Question,
Yes, sir.
based on your recent comment. My experience in buying materials in my business, it was taking 3 days to get something 4 months if I get it in. What's going to happen with ADQ? Is that?
No, that's a reasonable question. And it's also one that ADQ is not blind to. And so we've got this deadline that was established two and a half years ago on that.
Nobody knew what covered.
Exactly. So my experience with across the river with TDAC on consent orders, if you're making honest progress and construction is underway, they do, and that reasonable extensions will be made. But you got to be making reasonable progress, and I think that in this case, West Memphis certainly has.
Well, yeah, before all this started, I mean, it seemed like we saw this was happening and we took steps to do something about it before it.
So all that to say is that by summer of, spring of 2023, we'll have a very good feel as to whether or not it's realistic that the final plant construction is going to be that day. If not, we're going to pick up the phone and ask for a meeting with ADQ and get a reasonable extension.
So we'll have a good case.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, again, every bit of this was done pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So
Well, good question. Yes, sir.
If repairs and improvements to the treatment plant are 30 million, what's the total when you?
I will say that number right there was the total number of all projects.
Oh, okay.
That 30 million was total cost of all
Yeah,
projects.
well, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
that was, the 30 million was the accumulation of all projects associated with the cap plan,
Not just the treatment plant.
not just the treatment.
Okay. And but now we have no earthly idea what's going on.
That's the part that scares me.
It's tough to put together construction costs.
$10 pipe's now $30.
I think
Again, that's things that keep me up at night.
Yeah.
my plastic bag went up 44%. I got a 30% surcharge on anything that has steel in it.
Thank you for the opportunity to present to you guys today. Any other questions?
Just one other thing, at Station 9, one of the other major improvements we did is previously, some of y'all that have been around longer, if y'all remember, we had a catastrophic failure at Station 8 where we had to call somebody in here and they had to do a lot of work and work for, I think, like 19 hours straight, so where we could bypass that station. That station, one of the things we did is at Station 9 is actually set up a proper bypass method. We actually tapped into the force main and installed what size? A 30-inch connection, so where literally all we have to do is bring a pump over here, drop the suction in, tie it into the force main, and we are bypassing. If we have major electrical outages or something, that's going to be, and I can tell you that's one of the other things we're going to be doing at Station 8 is having set up. One of my goals long-term is having it so where every station has capability of being bypassed, either by a generator connecting to pump station 1 has quick connects on the outside of the building. You just pull up with a portable generator, you plug into it, and you're able to pump. Other stations, I think because of the electrical load, you don't have that capability, but you have the capability of potentially bringing a pump up there, set it on the ground, pipe it in, and then you're running. So long term, that's something else we're looking at. Something just for y'all's reference, and y'all don't see this, but every month we have a team from West Memphis Utilities that meets and is going over where we're at with all these projects, what we're doing and next steps. It's just basically a CAP committee, and it's made up of myself, Ward Wimbish, AJ, Paul Holloway, Denise Bosnick, and Fisher Arnold, who is our engineering reps for this stuff. So actually, after this meeting, we're going to go ahead and just have our CAP meeting and go over the next steps. So we're continuing. I know I hear the customers, and I know where we need to go, and with everybody involved, I think we're going to get there. It's going to take us some time, but we're going to get there. We're going to improve the infrastructure of the city one way or the other.
All about the instruments.
Yeah, it costs money. That's the part.
Well, I appreciate Fisher and Arnold for all the work they've done. They've backed us up and worked with us for years.
Well, we appreciate your confidence.
Good to have AJ.
Give a dedicated parking space there.
Yeah, still waiting on that one.
Thank you all.
Any spots.
Thank God. Okay, any further questions or statements? Next item, how does the utility benefit the citizens of West Memphis?
Again, just something good, happy, how we help the other departments in the city doing what they do. Our water department, they don't only fix the water leaks on our water lines or go out there and do the stuff on the sewer lines. They actually go out, and if there's a water leak out in the Parks Department, or if there's a water leak along Main Street, they go out there and help fix those things also. Just again, another way where I think the utility, having a public utility like we do, helps benefit the city in reducing costs that the citizens might otherwise incur.
Anything else before?
I do have one thing. I think, and I wish Wayne was here. He called me and was not feeling well, so he did not come to the meeting. Last council meeting, there was a resolution passed to create a, what they'll call a maintenance department head mechanic. I don't remember the exact name. Mike, do you remember off that? But it was basically what we're looking at doing is having a single person over both mechanic shops. This will help the city, I think, in multiple ways, where we'll have expertise on both sides, that if they have some expertise that we need support on, they'll be able to move back and forth, and it'll help also with cost for labor, where they're taking a position and making it a single position where you're over both shops. Again, I think right now, we have positions for 2 people down there. We'll leave the positions there, okay? At this time, we won't backfill one of those positions at first to see how the workload is, but over time, we might backfill that position. But where I think it'll help us greatly is, say I have my senior guy is out, then they'll be able to potentially move people over to my shop and still have 2 people in the shop. Because one of the things we're, again, going back to safety, concerned about, if you got one guy working on vehicles in a building by themselves, it's not always the safest. Anything could happen. So also equipment-wise, being able to potentially share in equipment and those type of things where, hey, y'all got a piece of equipment that we only need to use every once in a while, we'll be able to share and be able to collaborate with the city and help each other. The mayor did reach out to me on this, and I was in support of it. I mean, this discussion had went way back, believe it or not. I think the original person that brought me this was Frank Martin. Was, hey, what do you think about this? Is this something potentially in the future that we get to? I said, I can see the benefits of it. And I think that's one of the things we're going to have to do as an organization. Sometimes we're separate, but I do believe we're going to have to start finding ways with the labor market, the way it's going, and inflation, and the salary market. We're going to have to start finding ways to improve our efficiencies and make sure we don't have we're spending a lot of money on infrastructure, which is our assets. Our people are also our assets. We need to make sure we have good, qualified people performing jobs that we can rely on and pay them appropriately.
Great idea.
I need a money tree. Anybody's got that seed, let me know. I'll care for it well.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Ms. Marshall, do I have a second? Ms. Brown? All in favor? All opposed? We stand adjourned.
Keep yours.